Morning.
G'day, Gav. How you going?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Mate, very good. Another interesting week in the markets.
Yeah, the energy stocks have gone a bit crazy the last couple of days and probably will again today.
Yeah, some big moves there. I suppose that pipeline out of Russia being shut down is going to cause some interesting times. Index also had a big week too. We broke 91 on a couple of occasions, but just looks like a little bit of a stretch too far.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how today pans out. You got the US CPI tonight and interest rate call next week. You could see a little bit of risk come off the table later today. It'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think the forecasts are for a pretty solid CPI number out of the US, so it could
Mm.
definitely be interesting to see how things play out from there. With their market at such high levels, it does look like they do need a bit of a sell-off at some stages to bring some value back in.
Starting to feel that way, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, let's jump into the ideas for this week.
Righto, just let me share the screen here and show my lack of skills with Zoom whilst trying to find how to do it. And
That's all right.
share
You'll get there.
screen. There we go.
There we go.
And if I press this button here, it should. There we go. Righto.
Perfect. Right. Well, the first idea for this week was just selling some calls over BHP. I actually spoke to a few clients earlier in the week about the idea of actually lightening out of BHP, and a couple of our advisors also did the same and sold a little bit of BHP stock for clients up around the $43 to $44 range. For those that haven't done it, I think the idea of selling some covered calls is a good one. The premiums have been pretty attractive. If you went out to sort of December, 44 or $45 calls are going to give a very good premium. Just taking a bit of risk off the stock. It's had a super run from probably the low sort of $36, $37 range up to this sort of 43, 44 where it got to, back around just on 43 at the moment, but definitely some covered calls would be a good move if you're a holder of BHP.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I had one of my clients sold calls earlier this week. So, yep, certainly a good one. One I was looking at, H, was selling, I've got the wrong month up there, but selling puts in MCore. You can see it's been really beaten up. All the analysts have got it projected right up into, 20 plus percent average target price on it. You could either sell puts to buy the call or just buy the stock. It's looking at the attractive. I think the dividend yield's around 6% on it. So it's certainly one that a few clients have jumped on this week as well.
Yeah, Gav, that's a great suggestion. I actually sold BHP this weekend and bought Amcor
There
myself.
you
So,
go. There you
yeah,
go.
I like the stock. I think around 12.50, 12.60. It's still really good value, and yeah, $14, $15 target is pretty easy to see. Earnings look good. It's not a bad little yield, and I think also a little bit of defensive play if you want to just sort of get out of some of the sectors that have maybe run a bit hot. Amcor definitely looks like a good area to be.
It's a very well-run company. It's one I've been following since I started in this gig. So yeah, I like this company.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. We're going to do a
Yeah,
bit of a recap, weren't we, on a couple of the ideas from last week. So when you were away, Zach and Dylan jumped into the hot seat, and we went through a
surprised
couple of
I'm,
ideas. And
surprised I'm allowed to be here this week after their performance.
yeah, mate, the boys did well. Look, Woodside was Dylan's call, and look, I think really with the stock around that low $22 to $23 range, his suggestion of selling a put was a really good one. Stocks had a really good lift. Couple of things. Obviously, oil price started to find some support, and also they had some really good production numbers and a little bit of an upgrade on certain pipelines and a couple of other deals they're doing. It's a company that's really doing a lot at the moment, Woodside. I think it's been pretty stagnant for a few years with its deals, but things are really starting to happen with pipelines and different deals they're doing with LNG. So had a good run. We probably think it's still got a bit more to go, and maybe expect to see a bit more upside in it today.
Yeah, I think with Trump announcing these sanctions overnight, if it was to jump a similar amount today, you could almost look to be, if you own the stock, almost be looking to sell calls in it too, depending on what it does today. It's had a very good run. Dylan certainly picked that one well.
He did indeed, yeah. But definitely covered calls anywhere over 24.50. I think it'd be good to sort of look at writing.
Yeah.
But the other one we had was Woolies. That was a call of mine. Look, it's a stock I've followed for a long time, purely because it's generally a very safe sort of stock to be in normally. Obviously, they've had some issues with payroll and the like, and some ACCC matters, but the stock around $26 looked really, really cheap. It's now up around 26.80. We put out an idea of selling the $26 put. That was on the basis that we'd take up the stock, so we had the cash to buy the physical stock. But the way the stock's moved, looks like we won't have to buy it. But yeah, obviously we'll get to profit the premium from the trade.
Yeah, it's another one I like. I had some clients buy the stock earlier in the week as well. I mean, it's spread between it and Coles is a long way apart. You'd have to think over the next 12 months with the amount of money they're investing in it that it'll sneak its way back up. So yeah, another good buy idea.
Yep, excellent. And I think the third one, Zach had an idea of selling some covered calls over NAB for those that held the shares. Like all the banks, they've had a really, really big run up. We are leading into reporting season for all the banks except for CBA. So you'd have to think that the market maybe have moved a little bit hot for the likely results the banks are going to be able to deliver. So I think his idea of selling some covered calls up around that $44 to $45 range, if you can sort of pick a call strike up there. If you look at a European strike, you should be able to get the dividend as well on your stock. So for those that owned the stock, it was a great call to write some calls, get some premium in, and hopefully still get the dividend as well. Is sort of getting a bit of a double dip on that one.
Yeah, nice call. Nice call.
All right, well, that's
All
probably it
right,
for our ideas for this week.
that's it.
Look, market's going to be interesting whether we stay under 9100, but certainly the CPI and US leads will be a big thing for us next week.
Great. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, mate.
See you later. Bye.